If you're getting chickens this year because you're hopeful that it'll save you money on eggs, I just want you to know that this is the most expensive basket of eggs I've ever seen. So one reason that I have people think about before they get chickens is that if you are seeking an instant gratification, this probably isn't the thing for you because there are startup costs, there are preparations that you have to do, such as building them a home, even the first 6 weeks with the brooder, the feeding, having the temperature set up, knowing what to do if you come across certain things like pasty butt or even wry neck. Those things can sometimes cost you some time. And if you don't have time, you may not be the right person to get chickens. You will be doing a lot of work before you ever get your first egg or even get your chickens to like you. It took a long time to get this girl to love me, but now she waits for me every day and she must sit with me at all times. Is that delayed gratification? Are you someone who can wait for your first egg? Are you someone who can go ahead and put in all of this work to maybe get one egg, to maybe buy 10 hens and only make it to laying time with 5 of them because something happened? That's what happened to me. I bought so many hens at first. By the time they were old enough to actually lay eggs, I only had half of my flock. Things I want you to think about so that you will know if they are truly worth it in 2026 when the grocery store is just an app away on your phone. And for one, before you ever get your first egg, there are a lot of startup costs, okay? You need to have your brooder, your plate, your feed, all of those things set up. And then it comes into the time where they need to move into a coop, you need to have a home, you need to understand how many hens you're allowed to have where you live. Some people can only have 4 hens in their township. Some people can't have a rooster, you'd have to go without this boy here, which would be absolutely heartbreaking for me. The second thing I really want you to think about before you decide if chickens are worth it in 2026 is you don't buy chickens and then wake up the next day with breakfast, right? If you're starting from the beginning, you're getting baby chicks, it could be 9 months to a year before you get your first egg. And then chickens don't lay all the time, right? So in the winter, you have a lot more delayed egg laying. You have hardly any eggs at all. In the spring and summertime, you get more eggs than you know what to do with. So you're constantly giving eggs away, especially if you're like me and you got way more hens than you needed to feed your family. But this is something that's going to take time and patience. And if you don't have that, chickens just might not be worth it for you right now. The third point I wanted to make about whether or not chickens are worth it right now, well, that is that you get attached to them, especially me. I get overly attached to these. I'm an animal lover through and through. I thought I was going to be Snow White when I grew up with all of the wood animals, but it's ended up being chickens and ducks and goats and things like that. If you're someone who, treats your dog, you buy your dog a Christmas gift every year, a birthday gift, you celebrate them, then chances are you're going to become attached to your chickens. Chickens remind me so much of cats. They're so curious. They're so loving. They recognize you. They can recognize over 100 faces. And when you get a good rooster, trust me when I tell you, you get attached. This is my boy Chewbacca, and I would go to bats for him. There was a time where I thought I lost him. He got into a really bad fight, and I found him hidden away. And it was probably one of the worst days of my life this year, was thinking that I had lost him because he's such a good rooster. He's so good with the ladies. He's so smart. He's so sweet. He takes such good care of them. So he would be a huge loss to my flock, and I put so much time in him. He's over 2 years old, and roosters like him are hard to come by. But chickens get hurt. They get things called bumblefoot. They get prolapse. They get egg bound. They get water belly. There's so many little diseases that pop up with a chicken. And if you don't have the means or the resources or the stomach to handle those are something to think about. They can also get sick. There's been times where I've opened up the coop and one of my hens has bubbling eyes and one of them has a poopy butt and it's got blood coming out, and you've got to figure out what those things are. And then the last reason, there's predators, and it can even be your own dog sometimes. I have lost many hens to owls, raccoons. We had to spend a lot of money to fence in our huge yard. For whatever reason, when I got chickens, I thought they would just kind of stay by me because they liked me. Well, that is false. They go where the bugs, where the leaves, where everything is. They want to forage and they want to have fun. The woods is like their favorite place in the world. They are actual jungle animals. So if you're like me, there comes a point where this isn't livestock anymore and these are your pets, and it's really hard when you lose them, especially when you have a ton. That goes to my next point. Like I said, chickens remind me so much of cats. They are so entertaining. I can literally sit out here like I am now and pet Chewy. I know he's absolutely enjoying these pets, and I have a hen right here that wants to get in my lap and wants him out. And then I love watching them take little dust baths. I love hearing their noises. Like, you hear a hen yelling right now. She wants the goats to be put up so that she can be fed. During the summer, we let the goats out and they have free range over our grass. But while you do that, you can't have the chickens feed out because the goats will eat it all. They'll get sick. It's a whole process. And she is yelling at me because she wants that food out. She wants me to put those goats away. And I know that she's not going to stop until I put their feet out. They're just so funny. They come up with their own personalities and it's so much fun to watch them. Something else to consider is how you will feel once you get that first egg. That is so exciting. You could be putting in work. Like my first few chickens that I had were Orpingtons, and they are not good layers. I bought them because I knew they were going to be pretty birds, and that's all I cared about at the time. And it took me a good solid 9 to 10 months before I got my first egg. And once I finally got that egg, it was like could have been made of gold. I was so excited. So when you get chickens, if you are someone who gets proud of your accomplishments, of all the work that you put in, having chickens is going to be something that you truly enjoy, because once they start laying repetitiously and you learn their little personalities and all of the fun things that go in with having chickens, it makes it so much fun. It's also addicting. I have about 14 laying hens right now, and I just bought 12 baby chicks because why? They were cute. I did make sure to get all girls though, so we'll have a lot less of that. Well, I think they're girls. That's a whole nother thing. No chicken is guaranteed to be a girl. Even the hatcheries make a mistake. So if you get a rooster, just have a plan for if you can't have that rooster, or if you already have one. For instance, when we end up with a rooster, unfortunately, because no rooster is as good as this one, they don't last long here. It's also super exciting to try new breeds if that's what you're into. If you want to have this, for instance, is a chocolate laced Orpington, which is super fun. Over here we have a Brahma. I thought she looked so cool. The one behind me lays a blue egg, which is super fun, getting new colors of eggs, having new breeds. All of that is so exciting, and you really get into the life of having a chicken flock. The last point I want to make about having chickens is that if you are like me, and even if you never get your money back on them, there is something so fulfilling about being the one who feeds your family, different from going to the grocery store and buying the food, but actually putting in the work with something that you created, that you put the time into, that feeds your family, is so fulfilling. I work really hard at my 9 to 5, and I'm telling you right now that nothing I do there, no spreadsheet that I create, no analytical problem that I solve, or accolades that I get from my boss will ever compare to how fulfilling it is to come home to these little raptors that run to me and are so excited to see me and then provide me food for my family. That is such a great feeling. Not to mention I work from home and I can come out here to take my lunch break and hang out with this little boy right here. There's nothing like that. That kind of peace is really hard to put a price tag on, and I would never expect anyone to. And you know, at least they aren't goats, because you could be having to run around with cracked corn here in a little bit to try and lure goats to go back to where they live. So in 2026, are chickens actually worth it? Well, if you're in it for cheap eggs, probably not. But if you're in it for fulfillment, fun, and a little bit of chaos, then definitely. So in my case, with all of my chickens, all of the care and all of the time I give to them, no, they've never saved me money on eggs, but they have made my life a lot richer, which is something that you can't put a price tag on.